Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Mayor Burchill.
Here.
District 1 Morset.
Here.
District 2 Yaku Here. District 3 McCormick.
Here.
District 4 Weber.
Here.
District 5 Hoggett.
Here.
District 6 Hall.
Here.
First order of business is public hearing on the resolution to vacate portion of the public right-of-way known as 2nd Street South. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to that issue? I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to that issue?
Go ahead.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, the public hearing for the vacated portion of the public right-of-way at 2nd Street is now closed. The next order of business is public hearing on the 2015 street improvement project special assessments. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to that issue? Dick, it's the street improvement special projects. If anybody wants to talk to about that, that's what we're talking about right now. Okay? Is there anyone here that wants to talk or ask?
Move to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is comments and suggestions from the citizens present on any item that is not on the agenda.
There you go.
If you could state your name and address, please, and you have,
My name is Dick Johansson. I live in 303 Pine Street, Hudson. And I'm, I might say, homegrown. I was born and raised in Hudson here. And I'm 85 years old. And if I had cellular telephone or something other than cellular telephone, I wouldn't have to be here. I tried to call different people, all of the other cellular telephone. I called Jack there, Haggett. I left a message twice. Same way with Tom Zulli. I seen him twice, and once I left him upstairs and I left a message for him. Getting tired of running around here. What I want is there's trees that seem to be a problem. There's one tree. By the way, I think I better explain what I'm doing. I've been cutting the area behind the cement wall on the end of 3rd Street. Are you all acquainted with that?
mm-hmm.
That cement wall is city property. When I moved there 55 years ago, the city cut the thing with a sycamore. And so then I took my rake and raked that off, and I've been cutting it ever since. City's property. And I asked for a few limbs to be cut down once in a while, and I got some help. But now there's one tree there. It's a thorn tree of some sort. You got heavy thorns in it, and the tree is losing its life, and the limbs are all over the place. And I've asked different people if they could cut it down. Well, we'll have to talk to somebody. Well, I don't know who to talk to.
All right, we'll get you. Mr. Zulli will take care of that. Is that right, Tom? Is he still here?
Well, I don't know. Tom is pretty busy.
Okay.
I've talked to Tom twice about.
Okay, it's on private property, Dick. It's on a private property. We can't cut it down if it's on
That's
private.
not private property.
Okay,
This is right alongside the sidewalk,
okay.
and the sidewalk is city property.
Which side of the sidewalk? Is it towards the house or towards the street?
From the center of the street, it's 63 feet
Yeah.
to the side.
Okay. We'll have Mr. Zulli take a look at it. I mean, that's all we can do. If it's on private property, we can't cut it down, sir.
They tell me the city owns up to 10 feet or 1 foot of my house.
Okay.
So,
You had something else too, Dick, that you want to talk about?
Yes.
Okay.
then when Jim Brandy was working for the city, he planted 2 trees there in the so-called city property. Well, these trees are right within 2 feet of my sewer line. And he said, will you go and talk to somebody else? He said, I was told to put these trees here. So now, I'm 85 years old. Maybe the damn trees will grow roots into my sewer, and I'll be long gone anyway. But
Hope not.
no, I hope not too. 'Cause I can be here. I told you so.
All right.
Well, that's about it. If
Well,
Tom Zuli can get time around to see me,
I think he will.
well, I've seen him twice and one phone call or one office call.
Okay. We will make sure we get in
Make
contact.
sure you get it.
Thank you, Dick.
That's
Appreciate
all I
it.
got. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to approach the council or speak to the council? Okay. Item 7 is consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
To approve the regular meeting minutes of May 4th, 2015, and the special meeting and closed session minutes of May 15th, 2015. To approve claims for payment in the amount of $417,513.19. A detailed description is available in the clerk's office on request and is posted on the city's website. Contingent on payment of any outstanding debt owed to the city and approval by the police department, approve the issuance of 16 regular operator licenses for the period May 19th, 2015 to June 30th, 2017. Additional operator license application information is available on request in the clerk's office. To approve a bike rodeo in the Lakefront Park Bathhouse parking lot on Sunday, July 26th, 2015, in conjunction with Riverfest and designated as a community event. To approve a loading zone space from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the south side of Locust Street at 3rd Street. To approve renewal of a 1-year lease agreement with San Pedro's for locating dumpsters on city property. To approve the Ragnar Relay Foot Race using Lakefront Park as an exchange point between 7 p.m. Friday, August 14th, 2015, and 5 a.m. Saturday, August 15th, 2015. To approve conducting halos of the St. Croix Valley 5K Family Fun Day on Saturday, August 1st, 2015, at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Lakefront Park, and approve it as a community event. To approve forwarding the request for a turn signal on Hanley Road at Carmichael Road to the Public Works Committee for a possible engineering study. To place on file the quarterly report of the city clerk. That is all.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call?
Yakub Rod,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Haggett,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Morset.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on Resolution 915, a resolution awarding the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2015A, fixing their form and specifications, directing their execution and delivery, and providing for their payment. Neil and Sean, do you have anything to add?
We have with us Sean Lentz from Ellers and Andy Pratt, who's the bond counsel from Eckberg Lammers, who can respond to any questions that you might have. But this is what the resolution would do is, and Sean can provide a little bit of background on the sale today, would be really to provide the funds that will fund our 2015 and 2016 capital program. And I think one of the things that Sean will go into the details, but the final interest rates, the true interest costs, are very much in line with the projections that we were provided in the pre-sale report. So Sean?
You want to tell us that we kept our bond rating too?
Yes, absolutely. I think for the council members and the mayor, Neil handed out two
Yep.
reports. And I'll start with the report that says 2,115,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds. If you go one page in, you'll see there's a page that is entitled on the top, Moody's Investor Service. And as part of the process, We had a conference call with Moody's Investor Service, who rates the city of Hudson and the city's debt. And at that conference call, the mayor was there, Devin, Neil, Denny, and myself. And we had talked for about an hour and 15 minutes with a representative of Moody's. The city has an outstanding rating of AA2, and I think I talked the last time with the council, AAA is the best, AA1, and then AA2. So the city's already at a very high rating level. And what I wanted to point out, a couple things real briefly. The phone call, I think, went very, very well. The city and city staff are very well prepared to provide the rating agency with the information they need to make their assessment. And some of the holes that get filled in, there's questions of Devin and Neil regarding the finances of the city. The mayor talked about some of the ongoing developments, and Denny spent a lot of time talking about economic development initiatives that were going on. So those things are a little more interactive rather than handing somebody a piece of paper and saying, here's all the information. But the city does a fine job of preparing for that. This document is also used, and I think all the council received this. This is the official statement that has information about the city as well as these two debt issues. At the end of the day, they take the information from the discussion, the conference call, and they do an assessment. That's what's in this report. And I'm happy to say the city's current rating of the AA2 was affirmed by Moody's. One thing that I think is very interesting is they do note a couple of items about what could make the rating go up, what could make the rating go down, and that's on that first page there. In the case of Hudson, really the primary factor that maybe is holding the city back from going up to the AA1 and the AAA, and really there's very few communities that get to that level. It's exceptionally high. It's really a size issue. When they look at the rating and the communities that fall into that category, in general, getting up to that AA1 and AAA rating, the communities have more valuation, just a bigger community in general, and have more valuation. If you look at the other factors involved with maintaining or growing your rating, as you go through this report, and I'd encourage everybody to read through it when you have a chance, it's the stuff that you have direct control over, you're managing very well. And that's borne out by this report. Some factors that are part of the rating, you don't have a lot of control over. And over the period of years, it certainly is possible that the city will move forward and have even a higher rating. But again, the current rating is very, very good. Okay. With that then, just to go back to where Neil started, if you can go to the last page of this handout, the one entitled Sale Results on it. The last meeting that I was at, we had a pre-sale report that contained general information, or a report of the financing plan. And what you see here on this page for the sale results is the result of the sale and the bids and the interest rates bid from the winning bidder, which was Baird out of Milwaukee. The interest rate ranged from 3% to 3.5%. And what I would tie into what Neil talked about at the outset here is in the middle of the section where you'll see interest rates and debt service. And if you look at the third line there, net principal and interest, you'll see in comparison to the pre-sale report, the results of the competitive sale this morning, about $48,000 less in total principal and interest expense than what we talked about in the pre-sale report. So very good results, and from our standpoint, we would certainly recommend that the council approve the resolution that Andy put together, and in doing so, accepting that winning bid from Baird. Mayor, would you want to act on this one first, or would you like me to go on to the, okay. Again, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those about the rating or the sale.
Any questions?
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call to suspend the rules, excuse me.
Hall,
Yes.
Haggett,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Morset,
Yes.
Yakubrad.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. That would be the $2,115,000. Okay.
Yeah, 9-15.
Yep, 9-15. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next resolution, Sean.
Great. The second of the two, and I think as we talked about at the pre-sale meeting, the sale was divided into two issues, the bond issue, which were for long-term street projects, and the fire truck. The second issue is a 10-year promissory note issue. Again, the rating applies to both of these issues, the AA2. This issue was also put out for competitive bid at the same time, 11 o'clock. This issue finances shorter-term capital assets, so not a street or a fire truck. This is more of the equipment and some other capital equipment and projects that the city has for 2015 and 16. On the back page is, again, the sale results. We did get 6 bids on the 2015 notes. The winning bid was from UMB Bank out of Kansas City, Missouri. Another factor of the high rating is we really see interest from a broader spectrum of bidders when you carry a really good rating like the city has. In comparison to the pre-sale that we talked about again about a month ago, this one is about $55,000 less in total interest and principal expense from the bid from UMB Bank. So again, it would be our recommendation to approve that bid from UMB Bank on the 2015B note issue. And the process to do that is similar as the bonds. There's a resolution that was also drafted by Andy, and approval of that resolution by the council accepts the bids and locks into those final rates and terms. And again, if there's any questions before action, I'd be happy to answer those.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call.
Weber?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Yakubrad?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Haggett?
Yes.
Move to approve resolution 10-15.
Is there a second?
Second.
John, I'm glad you always predict high and then it comes in lower. It's a lot better that way than the other way, okay? All right. Any discussion or questions anyone has? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks, Council.
Next item on the agenda is discuss and possible action on Resolution 2-15, discontinuance of part of Second Street and Cooley Road. Mr. Darnold.
Good evening.
Hi, Dan.
Portion of Second Street that's being proposed for discontinuance or vacations located south of Cooley Road, just south of the Dairy Queen, and extends till you get to the access to the Northwest Mutual office building. So it's on the east side of State Trunk Highway 35. The intent of request and proposal for the abandonment is to provide the adjacent property owner some additional property to do development. As you're well aware, there's 3 dilapidated houses that exist in that site. Those recently were tore down. The owners have been very patiently waiting for the city to get through this discontinuance procedure if indeed we were agreeable for the discontinuance. So if the street is discontinued, you'll see a continuation of their process that they started. Common Council has the option to have first reading on this or suspend the rules and proceed with discontinuance. I'll be pleased to answer any questions.
Move to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Morset?
Yes.
Yakubrad?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Haggett?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2-15, discontinuance of part of Second Street south of Cooley Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Area's really been cleaned up nice, and I think this is gonna be a real good addition.
I saw a couple guys standing out there the other day, just waiting. I think they're excited.
Any other comments or, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, Plan Commission. Discussion and possible action on final development plans for Panda Express Restaurant, 2200 Badger Drive, northeast corner of Crestview Drive and Badger Drive, Panda Express Restaurant Group. Mr. Darnold.
Plan Commission recommends approval of the final development plans for the Panda Express Restaurant located at 2200 Badger Drive, with condition that a water main abandonment agreement is executed, stormwater drainage issues are addressed, and they have been addressed with the city engineer. And a surety of 125% of the estimated cost of restoration of street, curb, gutter, and boulevard improvements and cost of city inspections. It's estimated that surety will be $11,000. I don't know if there's any representation from Panda Express. They're an Arkansas company, and they were up for plan commission, but it's quite a ways to travel for a 5-minute dog and pony show, so.
I move to approve with committee recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Anybody have any questions on this?
Who's the dog and who's the pony?
But if you haven't figured that out in a long time you've been a common council member, I'll draw you pictures of that.
I am neither.
He's both.
You see it in the plans there. They have a nice plan. Did a really good job. Any other comments or questions?
I got a text from my teenager today saying, make sure I say yes to this.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, discussion possible action on final development plans for Hampton Inn and Suites, 83 units, 2610 Pearson Drive, south of Pearson Drive and west of Center Drive. American Construction Services.
Plan Commission recommends approval of the final development plans for the 83-unit Hampton Inn and Suites located at 2610 Pearson Drive, with the condition the final review of stormwater drainage plans are approved by the city engineer. That still needs to be done, but just some relatively minor issues. The surety is provided for restoration of street, curb and gutter, sidewalk, boulevard improvements, and cost of city inspections. Surety amount is estimated to be $9,400. Representatives of Hampton Inn and Suites are here tonight if you'd like to hear a presentation on this particular development.
What's your pleasure, council?
Sure. I already heard it.
Anybody want to hear
Are they planning on moving dirt right away, or what's,
Well, this project was initially started in 2008. Yeah, it's my understanding they'll start immediately upon approval.
Sooner than later, so
Yeah.
we've got to get our state approved plans yet.
The foundation's poured, right?
Yeah, we want to dig up.
Yeah.
If they pass inspection, they'll be able to use them.
I'll move for approval.
second?
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Opposed? Yes. Next item on the agenda is discussion possible action on final development plans, Benterra Lot 10, retail, 10,918 square foot building, 1,028 Pearson Drive, east and south of Pearson Drive. This will be to the east,
Immediately to the
west
west.
of the Fairfield Inn.
Correct.
Hampton
Hampton
Suites, I'm
Inn.
sorry, not Fairfield. Sorry, guys.
I think I called them Hilton one night.
It is a Hilton product.
Hilton brand. That's okay.
Plan Commission recommends approval of final development plans for the 10,918 square feet retail center, 1,000 through 1,028 Pearson Drive, as proposed by Banterra Holdings LLC, with condition that stormwater drainage plans are approved by the city engineer and surety is provided for restoration of street, curb and gutter, sidewalk, and boulevard improvements, and cost of city inspections. The surety amount is estimated to be $27,000. In this case, it's so much higher because they're putting in 2 driveways and then taking an old one out and restoring it. So that's the reason the surety's higher in this case than typical. Again, Planning Commission recommends approval. A representation from Banterra Holdings is here tonight if you'd like to hear a presentation. This project, as Mayor Burchill said, is located immediately west of the Hampton Inn.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Discussion? Questions for anyone?
Are you,
Yeah.
is it possible to ask whether, I don't need to know what, but are they gonna fill this pretty fast, or you have tenants lined up? I mean, because you've got some empty storefronts now.
We have no empty storefronts in Ventura, none.
No, and the other
Correct.
development.
Yeah, we have some storefronts in the other one that are starting to build up now, but there's nothing in Ventura, and we are working with one tenant that will be going in this development already, and we haven't marketed yet.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Discussion and possible action on ordinance 4-15, rezoning part of property known as the Hudson Golf Club located north of Cooley Road and west of Carmichael Road from R1, one-family residential district, to a PRD, planned residential district, and B2 general business district to amend the 2009 City of Hudson Comprehensive Plan to change the land use designations from recreational commercial to 1 and 2 family residential, medium density residential, and a general commercial. Hanson Brothers, well, Mr. Darrell.
Plan Commission recommends approval of the rezoning from R1, one-family residential district, to PRD, planned residential district, amend the 2009 City of Hudson Comprehensive Plan to change the land use designation from recreational commercial to single and two-family residential for that area that is proposed for the rezoning to the PRD, or planned residential development. And the area on the north end of the property is currently zoned PRD, and to not recommend or to deny rezoning of the property from R1, one-family residential district, to B2, general business district, and the amendment to the comprehensive plan to change the land use designation from recreational commercial to general commercial. The Planning Commission did express at the time of this review, and this is not part of the recommendation, please understand, that they would be open to consideration of hearing discussions or a request for rezoning the property to planned commercial development versus the B2 general business district. Mr. Hans Hagen, John Rask are here from Hans Hagen Homes, and representatives from Hanson Brothers 12 LLC are also here tonight. If you have any questions, or if you have any questions of me, you'd certainly be pleased to address them.
Can you explain a little bit about the commercial, going from general business to a planned commercial development, the differences and why the Planning Commission?
Yes, certainly. The area that's being proposed for commercial will exist if it would be approved for commercial development in the future. Basically serves somewhat as a transitional area between the existing commercial development along Cooley Road, particularly such as Target and Family Fresh. And then you have this 27.1 acre area, which hopefully there will be a road extended through that and become a public street. So there's likely to be about 15 acres of commercial development net for that area. The significance of going to a planned commercial district allows the City of Hudson to work with the developer. We can negotiate the commercial development. We can work out not necessarily covenants, but restrictions on use, bulk, dimensions, height, signage, and so forth, which I feel is important because it'll allow more of a transitional between the existing commercial and if the proposed residential would move ahead. And I think allow blending between the planned residential commercial development and the planned commercial development, where we'll be able to negotiate both projects and hopefully get a good blend of that. So that would be the intent of possibly considering the planned commercial development.
Is that clear as mud? What were we trying to do?
But that'd be a future,
Yes,
okay.
I think they would have to apply tomorrow.
They would have to reapply, correct?
Tomorrow for that.
But as it stands, this would be B2 zoning as part of the current, no, it's already B2 zoning.
No,
There's plan committee, the ordinance 4-5 is written to approve the recommendations of the Planning Commission as recommended, and not per the application.
so we didn't deny it, we just didn't recommend.
Well,
We
Planning Commission essentially suggesting you deny the commercial.
Yep, we'd like to see a planned commercial development versus a B2. Is that right, Mary? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Is that the intent?
We'd prefer planned commercial development, so we have a little more say as to how it gets developed. And the planned residential development that they're proposing has been somewhat reduced, and there was a lot of compromise made so far as to how it would be laid out. I think it's the best plan that's come in front of us, and we've seen quite a few. So it's been a lot of work on Denny and Alan's part, so.
Well, please understand, you're only approving
Zone.
the zoning tonight. The actual development plan would be negotiated through a conditional use permit process, where Plan Commission holds a public hearing, we negotiate the project, and the recommendations that come back to the Common Council in the future.
Of course, but without this going through tonight, that part won't happen. So it's kind of.
That's correct.
Is the, if we rezone it, is it going to lead to housing that's compatible with the housing that already exists in that area?
Well, the type of housing you see will be very similar to Stone Pine, which is a Hanshagen development immediately to the north. There's a question to me previously, what might be the difference of the number of housing units? I did a very careful calculation on that, taking width of lots and so forth. It'd be you'd get about, they're proposing 145 with one family residential. It'd be about 115 dwelling units, so you could get in if you took the same street orientations. So if you really play a game of apples and apples, somebody say, well, what's the difference of 30 homes? Well, you look at it, 30 homes times 300,000 per lot, you're getting a lot more valuation. So if we can negotiate a good project where you're getting good quality architecture, you're getting a set of sides for open space, the types of housing, why one type of architecture or a single family can't be compatible with something else? Now, would it be as large as the lots that be immediately west in CUD development? The answer is likely no, but I don't think there's a significant difference in the two.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Kern?
I see that there's a section that is no longer included up in the northwest corner, is no longer part of this.
No, it's the only reason that's playing tonight is because we're trying, the request is to change the comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan in that area, it's already zoned PRD, needs to be changed from the recreational commercial to do this. Then you have consistency throughout the entire development, the residential development section. But what you're referring to, Jim, is there's basically an open area on the north end that was sold to the golf course. There was a 40-year restriction. I think they're 10 years or so into that. There is an amendment process to that agreement, but right now whoever owns it would be responsible for restricting it. Under current concept, Hanshagen Homes would become the owner of the property, and that would become part of the negotiation process.
So you're saying what happens there is still up for
Oh, absolutely.
change?
Up for negotiations.
Because initially it was, the concept was that was, would be public, could be public land with parks and.
That was only an illustrative concept. I've explained that about 6 different times during this process. But again, what was been shown to us by Hanshagen Homes was only illustration. Once their application comes in, that's when the negotiation process starts. And so basically what they were trying to do is show what the possibility was for development through an illustrative concept plan.
I'll move to approve the rezoning based on staff and committee recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion, questions?
You're talking about adopting
I
Engineer,
can just suspend the rules on that, or no?
ordinance, yeah, we need to
Yep.
Okay, I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Morset,
Yes.
Yakubrad,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Hoggett,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
McCormick.
Yes.
Now I'll move for the approval.
Yeah, to adopt ordinance.
To
number-
adopt ordinance 4-15.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
John, second. Discussion still. Any questions, comments?
What was the vote on the planning commission?
6-0.
Unanimous, yes.
6 O's,
I think there was one member missing.
Mr. Vance was gone.
No, it
No, it
was,
was Mr. Casanova.
Pat was
Mr.
gone.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yep.
Casanova was gone.
It was 6-0.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Denny. Finance Committee, discussion and possible action on request for refunding mooring fees. Mr. Zulli, the vote in the Common Council, or in the Finance Committee was 2-2, whether to refund or not refund.
The Public Works Department received a letter dated May 7th from Donald and Nancy Lee that they'd like to vacate their mooring spot that they applied for this year due to the construction on, and repairs on the dike road. The policy states that if there is a request to vacate prior to July 15th, the permit holder will receive 1/2 of the mooring fee for the season. There's been some repairs done to the dike, things that, we didn't have control over. We were waiting for a DNR permit that we received May 1st, and, March 1st, and March 4th, I'm sorry. Then the applications for the mooring were due March 1st, and we didn't receive notification for the DNR until after that date. So at that point, we did not even know if we're going to do the project this spring or wait till next fall. Once we got the DNR application in, we felt that we'd like to get the process going before there's any further damage to the dike this summer. After the pre-construction meeting on April 24th, it was very clear that the contractor wouldn't allow dinghy storage on the dike road. We tried to make arrangements with the excursion boat, the docks along the excursion boats. That damage, there was some damage done to that, and he was repairing that dock, so there weren't many options for the dinghy storage. We did send out a letter, an email to all the mooring holders on April 24th, saying that they could not store their dinghies on the dike. They could access on weekends and after 7 p.m. We did offer up that you could launch your dinghy from the public boat ramp at that time.
So they could come in after 7 and then on the weekends?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we didn't know until the how long it would take to get from, up to that dinghy storage area. And once they had the construction done to that point, then we opened it up for dinghy storage.
When did construction start? When was opening season for the dinghies to be put in the water?
April 15th,
And
and we
construction
had a
started when?
pre-construction meeting like April 24th, and that's when this notice was sent out. So
So-
we didn't know, even with the contractor, how far they, how fast they're gonna go, how far they
Right.
would go, and exactly what they would permit.
So you started construction when?
I think it was Monday, April 27th.
So dinghies were in the water for 2 weeks at that point, if they wanted to be.
I think there was one dinghy down there, I think it was Mr. Lee's.
Okay, and then they were removed on the 27th,
We asked them to remove them prior to construction, yes.
and they were back in the water, the first set were back in the water when?
Boy, I think it was
Last week.
last week. We opened up the first section of dinghy storage, and then this last week, we even opened up the entire dinghy area.
So it's been like 2.5 weeks of no dinghies. Not that long.
But when he asked it for the request, nobody knew when they would be able to use the dinghies.
Let's let Mr. Lee, if he wants to come up and speak to us, and then we can ask questions.
Just to clarify, is there anyone on the council that didn't hear it the first time? I don't want to waste your time. I guess the dates kind of are irrelevant because at the time, it was open-ended. there was no date as far as, I had put my dinghy in, and the day that you could start mooring your boat was the day we found out that there was going to be an issue. We were advised there was going to be an issue. So I did not put my boat in, which I was going to do on the 17th. But not knowing what was going to happen with the dinghies, it's not the easiest task to put the boats in and out. So I was waiting for more communication. On the 24th, we were advised that, well, there is no plan for the dinghies at this point, and there was no date given as far as when they were going to be allowed to go back in. At that time, I went and I started looking for other locations to store my boat.
But Mr.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Lee?
Were you aware of the other alternative that Mr. Zulli pointed out?
At the time, there was no other alternative. The only other alternative was for me to bring my dinghy back and forth every time I wanted to use my boat, which for me is not an option. I have to borrow a truck every time to bring my dinghy back and forth. That's my issue here.
Any other questions for Mr. Lee? Thank you. So our question is, do we refund, our policy says we have a half a year is
Right.
indicated. For the roughly 2 week period, do we give them the full refund or not? That's the question.
My feeling in finance was that this is an extenuating circumstance that is not normal, won't happen on a regular basis,
Okay.
and that there was no ability to have a dinghy and it was open-ended. So I felt, and I will make a motion to give them the full refund.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Has this been reassigned and paid for?
Yes, we have a new renter in?
Yes.
And did they pay the full price?
No, they just pay the half, plus some handling fees or some $15.
Okay. Okay.
We have a policy in place. I mean, I understand there's circumstances, but no other more ask for a refund. I mean, we say yes now, and we could have others that come in. I just think we should stick with the policy that Public Works has in place. It's there for a reason.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I disagree. I think that because of the extenuating circumstances, that we should give a full refund.
And I think lack of clarity on our part, really knowing what we're gonna be able to do, makes it, we didn't live up to the agreement, which would be to have dinghy spaces. So,
Okay. Anyone else?
I have one question. Does everyone who has a sailboat out there also hold a dinghy out there? Do they have a dinghy? Everyone have a dinghy out in the?
I'm not sure.
I believe,
Probably not, huh?
There's actually 49 mooring spots. There's one that we keep vacant, but I've never counted 49 dinghies out there. I think I've heard that some people store a boat at the marina. A couple people do that. Other people have other ways to get access to their boats, but I have never counted 49 dinghies, no.
So having a dinghy is a choice, not a necessity, in that location.
Yeah. And actually, it's a little unclear with the the mooring policy. It says a spot, if I can read it here. Mooring assignments. Dinghy storage. Each moorer holder will be allowed the dinghy, one dinghy storage along the dike road, but it's not in the DNR or the permit that we have. It only talks about the mooring buoys on the river. So it's just something that we've always kind of grandfathered in, but it's not guaranteed.
So my question then would be, if we had a high water mark and they couldn't get in, do we give them their money back?
Yeah.
It's not our fault.
that's an act of God. This is an act of construction that we chose to approve, and I would say to me, that's the difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except you can only do construction during construction season. It's not like we can do it in the winter.
Had he known, he would have not chose to sign up for the mooring. So I understand what you're saying, and I do believe in our policies. I just think that in this case, I think it's a no-brainer to me to give him his money back.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next order of business, discussion possible action on facilities agreement for the Miss Hudson pageant with Hudson High School.
You want me to discuss?
Absolutely.
Okay. As I spoke about in Finance Committee, Ms. Hudson was in a situation this year that was brought to my attention that the contracts have gone up from the Hudson School District, and they do not consider Ms. Hudson a nonprofit organization, even though they are registered as one. And so last year, Ms. Hudson paid somewhere around $400 for the Hudson High School auditorium for their pageant, which is a community event involving Hudson High School was juniors and seniors, now seniors. So, and this year they received a estimate of $1,400 for their pageant, which is up $1,000. Definitely something that Ms. Hudson would not have budgeted for, being a fully nonprofit organization that only relies on fundraising to survive. Being that the city is one of the major contributors, I talked to Devin and Alan and asked if we could consider taking on the contract for this year. By doing that, the school district would reduce the price down to $160 a day, which is under $400, since we are a government entity. So for a government entity, they'll reduce the price, but for a city organization, they jack the price. So basically, I've made a request that we consider covering the contract this year for Ms. Hudson until they can try and work out something with the school district for next year. Give them an opportunity.
Okay, can I make some comments? Mary Bowenega-Broughton contacted me as the liaison to the school district, and she said that they want to support the Miss Hudson competition, and that that's why they agreed to this contract with the city. She said, though, that some things that we should realize is that money is tight with the school board. She said that the organization was given this information a year ago that the price would be going up because they need to recoup their costs. That there's a light and sound technician and a custodian, and then the costs of utilities, things like that, and that they were considered a nonprofit, and that this is the current price for nonprofits would be the $1,400.
Well, I'd like to comment on that as well. I asked Tracy Habish-Arlene how much it is to run this program for them.
Mm-hmm.
She told me that we would be paying the cost to run the program, which is $160 a day. That's how much it's costing them for services. So the extra $1,000 they're trying to charge them, to me, is not recouping costs. It's charging a city organization, community organization that already pays taxes, that's involving high school students. So that's fine if Mary contacted you, but I believe that working with community organizations should be a little more realistic in their pricing. And when they said it was going up, they never told them $1,000. They said pricing would be going up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I told
I'm
them.
just giving you the information that she gave me, and
I'm glad she contacted you, because as I contacted Jamie, I never heard from her, so that's good.
Okay, any other comments,
So
questions?
our role in this is simply to provide the contract, which will allow you to get a fixed rate.
For this year, and they will cover the insurance, as we talked about, but Ms. Hudson also has insurance too, if it can be worked out, or the city will cover it.
Where the city would be named an additional insured on the Miss Hudson insurance policy.
And I don't know, maybe in the future, we might want to look and do how, since they are representing the city as our city ambassadors, that we can find some way that we can contribute to continue to help so they don't have to pay $1,400 for a pageant.
I agree with that. When I talked to some of my constituents, one woman said that her daughter was in this contest and that she was concerned that she'd like to see the city support the pageant better.
Well, we support
We
the-
support it plenty.
really
Okay.
well.
We've supported it very nicely this year, but it's different. It's not the city who needs to support it, it's the school district in this situation.
I think though in the future, to be proactive, I know the alternatives, there are not many options out there. And I'm disgusted that the school would even, play a game like that. So, you know, we have to do what we have to do to make the program succeed, but I would definitely and strongly urge to look for a different venue.
I think they'll plan to be doing that. It's just they were caught off guard with having, you know how it is. They have like 2 months now before the pageant, so.
Yeah.
Or a plan, start at the beginning of the year, or start, you know, in September, so that it can be part of the budget and all that kind of
I'm
good
sure they'll
stuff.
gladly accept donations from anyone who'd like to give.
You might want to change the spelling of Devon's name, it's wrong.
I noticed that.
Yep.
Devon?
Devon?
He doesn't mind.
Devon?
I think it's kind of.
Anyways, I move for approval.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action on debt policy for the city of Hudson. Mr. Neal.
The original suggestion that the city evaluate or look at adopting a debt policy came from, Sean from Ellers. And one of the things that it does is really provides a framework for future decision-making with regard to our capital. And, it makes a commitment to protect the city's credit, protect the city's bond rating. And so what we did is this was discussed last month at the Finance Committee. And one of the comments from the Finance Committee, when we had the 2013 debt issuance, and we went through our first 5-year financial plan. And that's actually one of the other things that is important in the credit, in evaluating the credit by Moody's, is that we do have a 5-year capital plan in place. But one of the things at that point in time, the council said, we had a couple meetings where we discussed, how much debt are we willing to get into? And I know we bounced back and forth between, setting a target mill rate at 5.25 mils, which is, $5.25 per $1,000 of assessed valuation. And I think there, we looked at what we could finance with that versus 5.5 mils. The council said 5.25 mils. But knowing where we're at now, and we're pretty much on a program where we can stay under that 5.25 mils by issuing about $4 million of debt, which we approved today, every 2 years. And that's our normal capital program. But I think one of the things that the committee discussed at the last meeting was what happens with the discussion of a public safety building, the discussion of a Vine Street project. So there are some, beyond what I would call normal capital needs. So we revised some language here to recognize that the 5.25 mil cap was for our normal operating and capital needs, and it provides council the discretion to exceed that target as deemed necessary, for things that are extraordinary.
And again, it's a guide, the 525, we can.
It is a guide. It's referenced as a target.
Yep, and we'd like to hit our target or below, but again, we come up with special projects, and so. Anybody have any comments on it?
I'll move we adopt this policy.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Neil, good job. I think it's something that we probably should have had a while ago, but we've got it now. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess everybody was for it. Okay, thank you, Neil. Item 11 has been pulled to, we're going to take that to Public Works, go back to Public Works to review that also.
Okay.
Been pulled by, Randy asked to be pulled. New business discussion and possible action of approve assessment report and order preparation of plans and specs. Who's having that one? Tom, is that you? Okay,
It's one of the Toms. We've got-
one of the Toms.
we've got
Tom.
several Toms here.
Earlier this evening, you had the public hearing on the same 2015 street improvement projects. And as far as I know, no one spoke. We have not received any other correspondence, written or otherwise, that I'm aware of, so there looks like there's no comments to date, period, on that. We've discussed this previously, and the assessment report was put together. Assessment notices with estimated amounts were sent out to the affected parcel owners. And in your packet, there should be a estimated project cost summary for the 4 streets we're looking at. Cooley Road from Carmichael, going back towards almost where the Associated Bank driveway is. Croy Crest Drive from Montcroy north to the cul-de-sac. Industrial Street between Mayor and Hanley Road, and Aspen Drive between Mayor and Hanley Road. Again, your summary shows the total project cost, estimated total project cost, the potential proposed assessment amount that the city would receive, and then the balance would be the net city funds.
Tom, did you put all this stuff together for us? Is this yours?
Yes.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's kind of listed there as four separate projects. The goal would be, of course, to try to do all four with the appropriate budget, obviously. We're pretty confident we can get the first three projects. If you look at the balanced city funds on the far right-hand column, $438,000 for Cooley, $76,000 for Croycrest, $115,000 for industrial. If you looked at those two projects, and again, that's with the preliminary assessment amounts, as you see in the column to the left, gets us a net total project, estimated total project of about $630,000 with those three projects. Now again, in budgeting, there's about 600, to my knowledge, or about 630,000 budgeted for the project now. The assessment portion, obviously, you're not getting that assessment. That's over a period of years, so you won't be getting that amount in calendar 2015. But it still results in a balanced net city funds if you look at those three. What we would do going forward in the plans and specs is we would put all four of these projects in there. We would probably have Aspen Drive listed as an alternate, potentially Industrial Street and Aspen as alternates. Then we would know exactly, once we receive those low bids, if something comes in a little lower, maybe we can add that fourth project to the list to include all four. So with that, we've also included the balance of the calendar and what the proposed schedule would be. You've seen that a couple different times already. Again, tonight, the staff recommendation would be to approve the assessment report and order preparation of plans and specifications, the next step in the process.
Yeah, have you heard much on the bids, or have there been projects out? How are they running? Have you heard?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. In this type of project, the asphalt is obviously a majority of the bid, and it is kind of all over the place. I think I've used about a $80 a ton figure. There's been some bids, I know, other side of the river as much as low as upper 50s, 50, 58 a ton. I think that's a little bit, or let's call that very optimistic. Again, you can look at
I guess I was
the
just
number of
wondering
bidders,
if you
but
heard where it's at, because
it's kind of been all over,
Okay.
is what I'm
That's a fair-
hearing.
Any other questions for Tom, or any questions for Tom?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Before I let you go, have you and Public Works looked at all about our assessment policy?
Well, we're trying to
I know you guys have been busy.
I know I've redlined a few comments. I know Kathy has redlined my comments, or a few comments. And the next step would be to sit down, we want to sit down with Denny and Tom and kind of
Okay.
go through everyone's comments and kind of have another round robin.
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry, that's a little off topic subject, but every time I get a chance, I'll ask you where we're at.
Told you.
Any other questions for Tom? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tom. Oh, I went by it. Next item on the agenda is the discussion and possible action on determining a method of appointment for new alderperson in the second district. As you can see there, Devin put together a issue sheets regarding Mary's effective resignation tonight. And there's two methods: appointment of an alderperson for the remaining of the term of the office. In this case, an appointment would run until April of 2016. In the past, the Common Council has requested that interested individuals submit resumes to the Common Council, and then there has been an interview of the candidates on a special or regular meeting. The council then votes on the replacement. If the council chooses the appointment position option, the position will be advertised in the Star Observer on May 28th and posted on the city's website. Interested individuals will be given until Thursday, June 11th to submit the information, and the council will conduct interviews Monday, June 15th. In the past, council has started the regular scheduled meeting prior to 7 to conduct interviews. The start time would depend on the number of individuals interested. And then, just FYI, the City Administrative Code of 2312 provides a majority vote of members of the council in favor of any proposed ordinance, resolution, or appointment shall be necessary for passage approval unless a larger number is required by statute. So the appointment will require 4 of our alderpersons voting in favor of one candidate in order to appoint. If there's difficulty reaching the 4 required votes under the Hudson Municipal Code, the council can temporarily suspend the rule by 2/3 vote of the members present. The council may, if the vacancy occurs prior to June 1st, which this is, in the year preceding expiration of the term, order a special election to take place on Tuesday after the first Monday in November, following the date of that order. The person elected will serve out the remaining term. Council? What's your ideas? What would you like to do?
Not really.
First, can I ask, do I need to recuse myself from voting or just discussion or anything?
No,
Not
because
yet.
this is just the procedure, and you're a sitting council member.
Okay?
I was just gonna say that number 2 doesn't seem very practical, really.
Okay.
And timely, it's not very timely.
Okay. Mary, you were gonna say something, or you wanted to say something?
I reached out to my constituents and surprisingly did not receive very much feedback. Actually, I don't know if it's surprising since the voting in my district has always been either the least or like between Randy and I, we're always last. So, just a few came back preferencing, someone who is similar in my thought process. I don't know what their definition of that is. So, but otherwise, I agree that November is a long time to wait to fill the seat. I do, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it, so I don't know if I'm a very good person to actually input on this.
Okay, but you have a right to do your input tonight.
Go ahead.
I have a
Sure.
question for you, Catherine.
Sure.
If we go the appointment route and have difficulty getting the correct vote, can we then go the election route, or are we making a decision tonight that binds us one way or the other?
No, I don't think you're binding yourself. I would just need to check the statute if there's any deadline. There's notices required for an election. I doubt
Not
that
enough,
you'd
yeah.
be, but I just don't know what those notices are. That would be the only issue. I don't think, you can always reconsider your decision if you're not able to agree or get the proper vote. And the other point is, that's a municipal code requirement only, and so you could suspend the rules to just have a simple majority of the council members present, assuming it's a quorum.
So you wouldn't have to have 4 alderpersons on a vote?
You have
If
to have
the
2/3 to
council,
suspend the
you
rules.
would have to suspend the rules. You'd need a 2/3 vote to do that.
Which would still be 4 out of the 5?
Mhm.
If I'm not here and it's 5 people suspending the rules.
Yeah, it's 4 out of the, actually 6.
Right, so it's
I mean,
gonna
you
be
look
4
at
out of
the
5 as
total
well.
council.
Well, I guess the way I see it is, I mean, this is only less than a year. Whoever gets in will have to run for reelection, or somebody else would have to run for election. So it's really, it's not even close to 2 years, it's certainly, and it's less than 1. So to me, putting somebody in here that whoever steps up and wants to go through the process, I mean, clearly that would happen again in an election cycle, but then they're gonna have to do it again, and that may not guarantee long-term anyway. So I don't know, it just seems like what's Devin laid out here seems pretty straightforward to me.
Catherine, you just said that to suspend the rules, it would require
Yeah, I'm just
4 out
looking
of
it
6, but in Devin's thing, I'm quoting, if there's difficulty reaching the 4 required votes under Hudson Municipal Code, Section 2316, the council can temporarily suspend the rule by a 2/3 recorded vote of the members present. That's kind of a key issue.
Yeah, the rules Yeah, you're correct. 2/3 of the members present. It's full, to suspend the rules.
The members present.
Yes, the members present. That's what I just was looking up to check.
Kinda like when
But
we
under
voted
the
for-
appointment process, you need 4 members of,
Okay,
4
I
votes
see
of
what you're
all the
saying.
council.
I got you. I understand.
So I kind of get the sense that we'd like to try and appoint. Is that, is there anybody here that doesn't want to do that? Tom or Randy or Mary?
It's, since I was appointed some 9 years ago, I think that's just kind of the way we've done it, and I think it's been working pretty good for us.
Tom?
I'd probably stay with that.
Tom, you have any thoughts on it, or?
I'll tell you my thoughts when we get further into it, but that'll be too late.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice lawyer talk.
Lawyer talk. Okay. Is there a, do we need a motion? I
Yeah,
think
you
we
should
probably
have a
should have a motion to try the appointment process and see if that can work for us. Is there a motion for that?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So I think we'll follow the schedule that Devin put together there. We'll put the ad in the paper and see if there's, and again, if anybody's watching tonight or anybody's in the audience, you're welcome to apply, that you're interested in coming onto the city council.
You have to live in District 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. You have to live in that district.
Check your address.
Check your address.
That would be Hudson Meadows.
Yes.
Red Cedar Canyon, Heritage Greens, and the Lighthouse subdivisions. We have been reduced down to that, but still the largest district.
Any other comments or questions?
The process, who would they send the letter to?
I think it's to Devin or to clerk. Nancy, is it to you?
It's Devin.
To Devin, the city administrator.
Okay.
It'll be on the city website, I'm sure.
Yep. Anything else? Any other comments or thoughts or questions?
Would it be worthwhile to, instead of asking for a resume, asking for certain questions to be answered, similar to what was put in the newspaper before the election, or, those kinds of questions?
We may want to, as a group, to put some questions together that we'll ask everybody. Off the cuff is probably better, I think, than, I don't know.
The interview.
The
That's what's
resume,
been done in the
the
past.
resume was for us to get an idea of
Yeah, I
the
think I'd like to see a
person
resume, and then
itself.
we could come up with questions at the interview
Yep.
process.
Okay,
That's how it's
That's how
always
it-
been done, so
Sure,
why
okay.
change it now?
so then we would interview all candidates that show up?
Yep, all in public, and you can ask them questions, and then you guys get to vote. Any other comments or questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Zulli, guess what we have? He doesn't know. It's a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Whereas the public works serves to provide our community an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support and understanding of the informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, highways, public building, and solid waste collection, and whereas the health and safety and the comfort of this community greatly depends upon these facilities and services, and whereas the 2015 theme, Community Begins Here, speaks to the essential nature of the public works services to support everyday quality of life brought to communities around the world, we are able to have clean water, safe streets and neighborhoods, efficient traffic, and safe, clean communities because of public works. And whereas we committed to the efforts and skills, the efforts and skills of the public works employees dedicated to improving the quality of life for the present and future generations. I therefore, Alan D. Burchell, Mayor of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through the 23rd as National Public Works Week. And we should thank a public works employee, and thank you, Tom, for all the work your crew does. Not to be outdone, we have Emergency Medical Services Week also, proclamation. And I don't think Chief Kim is here tonight. But whereas emergency medical service is critical to public service, providing life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas the members of the St. Croix Emergency Medical Service, with a roster of 48 EMTs, rescue dive technicians, of which 17 are EMT paramedic level, respond to almost 1,939 calls during 2014. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas the members of the emergency medical service, whether career or part-time, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training, continuing education to enhance the life-saving skills. And whereas the 2015 theme is EMS Strong, was chosen as it honors the multitude of EMS practitioners serving our communities across the nation. With the charge of taking place in our nation's healthcare system, EMS Strong is what draws a special few together to do an incredibly important work, often under difficult circumstances and in many times with little thanks. Now, therefore, I, Alan Burchell, call upon the citizens of Hudson and all patriotic, civic, and educational organization to observe the week of May 17th to the 23rd, 2015 as Emergency Medical Services Week, and call upon all citizens to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities regarding health education and safety issues. So why don't we give our paramedics a good big hand, too. And then we have one more thing before we go to a closed session. I was a council person sitting over where Joyce is sitting, and this pregnant lady came in. And I don't know how, it had to be Sophie, or Sophia, yeah. And you were 9 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant?
No, when you first, no, I started off at 10 weeks pregnant.
Okay, well, yeah, but
Ended at birth before.
I thought she was gonna have her baby right here. Because, and that was on the Heritage Greens situation, and Mary was kind of representing the area, and I don't want to say what I first thought of her, but
Good.
but as I got to know Mary and how long we've worked together since 2010, Mary has done, I think, an exceptional job on city council. I don't know of anyone that works harder for her district than Mary. Always very responsive to her district. I know she probably has more emails going out to her citizens in her district than I did when in District 6, and probably more than anybody else in the district. And we really appreciate all that you've done. I know that I personally am going to miss you. We developed a really good friendship, and I'm proud of how you've served. Now, we've never always agreed, and I don't think we always should, but I respect your position on things, and I want to ask you to come up. Smile, Mary. Come on. It's okay. And this is an award from the City of Hudson, Appreciation Award to Mary Yakub Barad in recognition of your outstanding efforts, City of Hudson, Common Council, Alderperson District 2, your contributions as a member of the Finance Committee, Plan Commission, Public Works, Public Safety Committee, Community Access Board, and liaison to the school board from April 20th, 2010 to May 20th, 2015, and your service to the Hudson Police and Fire Commission from November 10th, 2008 to April 20th, 2010. I'm not going to give you a shake your hand. I'll give you okay. We'll do a shake hand. Set the plastic.
You don't want the plastic?
Plastic.
Should I put it in the recycle bin?
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
One more. Just a second.
Okay, thank you. I think she was trying to take my bill. Communications, anything else? from common council members.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mary for your service as well, and thank you for the challenging times we've had, and the disagreements we had, and you served the citizens of Hudson well. Thank you, and I'm proud to call you a friend.
I would agree, and I thank you again for your service, and I won't, we have this weird link going on, you being in the middle. That's gonna be interesting how that pans out.
Do catch an eye every now and then.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you too, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
There's still people in my district who think you represent.
Is that a good or bad thing for you?
City attorney,
Can I speak too?
maybe. Any other city staff? All right, Mary, you're on.
All right. I thought you were gonna skip me altogether.
Yeah. No, I'd give you a chance.
All right. I've probably spoken longer than what I've written at times, but it's better if I write it because then I don't go off track. 1 year ago, when I won my election to serve my third term representing District 2, I can confidently say I was not planning on speaking tonight for my last council meeting. It has been a whirlwind 5.5 years of service to my constituents and the city residents. After my resignation was announced, many people have written and stopped me around town and expressed how grateful they were for my service and were sad to see me leave. It was humbling to hear. As most of you know, as a public servant, one will hear more complaints than compliments. My departure is bittersweet. I feel I still have more ideas and more goals that will be left unfinished and unmet. I will always regret not being able to accomplish a sidewalk down Stage Line Road. But it's never easy trying to get two different entities to agree on certain projects. The dog track is a perfect example of that. The public perception seems to be good versus evil or Republican versus Democrat on this specific issue. I will always strongly disagree that our decision was partisan, and will to this day and in the future stand by my vote as one of the most important ones I've made on this council. The question before the city council was not whether or not we need a new high school, rather was the location requested the most beneficial and fiscally responsible location for the city of Hudson and its taxpayers to lose a valuable tax base prior to a $100 million referendum going to vote. The results of that referendum reaffirmed that the correct decision on our part was made. People have asked me how I can make such divisive decisions. My response will always be that I pride myself on doing my research and making a decision that is not only best for the city, but also one where I can sleep at night. Being an elected official is not easy, and if done right, family events such as school and sporting events for our children will be missed. I took my position very seriously, and I felt I was always on call for my constituents. I took pride in what I did, and although not everyone will agree with me, I do feel I served Hudson well. It's not easy for me to leave midterm, and as I stated at our last meeting, this was not a knee-jerk decision. My children are my number one priority, and for them to be able to go outside, enjoy nature, play and grow means more to me than anything else, which is why I'm moving out of my townhome and into a house with plenty of land for them to grow and explore. It is comforting for me to see. Seeing the looks on my children's face when we talk about the benefits of our move is priceless. It would be wrong of me to leave without thanking all of the employees of the city of Hudson. We have the best staff a city could have. We as council members cannot do our job properly without them. They are a wealth of knowledge, and I encourage all the council members to respect that and to take advantage of their knowledge, not only of our city ordinances, but of the history of Hudson they can share with you. I can personally say I learn more from them every time we speak. They are welcoming, patient, and easy to talk to, which is so important. Each one of you as council members have something to contribute to help shape our great city. It is important to look at each issue as it comes in front of you. We are a nonpartisan seat for a reason, and it is sad that things have seemed to turn partisan in many of our elections lately. It is that mindset that will continue to divide our city, and it's entirely wrong to hold this office with that attitude. You will do our city an injustice if you represent your district in that way. I am not going to individually recognize what I've learned from each of you because I think we all have qualities we learn from each other that helps us become better people just by knowing and working with each other. But I cannot leave without singling out Alan and what you have meant to me as mayor. There will be big shoes to fill when you decide to no longer run for another term. You are a mentor, a friend, and a stand-up guy who is genuine and fair.
You have an incredible business sense and have taught me so much. When I was first elected, I felt like a fish out of water and seemed to have to play catch up my first year, and you were there to help me and answer questions I had. And you continue to do that to this day. I moved here 13 years ago with no immediate family close by. You've not only been a role model and a friend, but a second father to me as well, and for that I will be forever grateful.
I'm not that old, Mary.
You are. You are. I'm sorry to tell you that. I wish you all the best of luck with the many future decisions ahead. Please remember, you are in a nonpartisan seat. Your decisions should reflect what is best for the city, not for personal agendas. Do not vote with your emotions. And lastly, the city does not have an open checkbook. I have to say that because you know that's a line I say. So it is part of your job to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly so that Hudson can continue to be the #1 city in Wisconsin to live, work, and play. It's been a memorable 5.5 years, and I can honestly say I've enjoyed every second of my service. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Mary. Right now, I would like to entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 1918 1E, deliberating and negotiating for purchasing public properties or conducting public business relating to the restrictive covenant of the Hudson Golf Course property in which a competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
So moved.
Second.
We don't need a roll call vote on that, I'm sorry.
McCormick?
Aye.
Weber?
Aye.
Haggett?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Yakub Rod?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Okay. Good to go.
All right, you want me to make the motion?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a motion that we, you took the thing down. Okay, that we go with option 2 of discussion for land contracts and have Denny and Catherine,
Subject to a survey and
There
an
you go.
agreement to be brought back to council for approval.
that's the
For
motion.
600,000.
For $600,000
Plus
plus
building the road.
buildings and roadway.
Okay,
I will second
is there a
that.
second?
Yeah.
Any discussion?
I'd like someone to repeat that.
I thought it
motion.
was, did you say 650?
600,000.
600,000.
The purchase
okay.
price.
Yeah.
Anyone want to repeat that motion?
Sure.
No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.